We got a little bit of a situation.
Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
So the context is that he put in here and he posted a picture and it says 8647. 86 generally means to disappear somebody, kill them, or make them go away, right? This is generally, it depends on like who you're discussing, etc., right? No, it doesn't. Well, I mean, it kind of does though, right? Not exactly. Look it up. Okay, we will. But let me go ahead and do this.
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI.
Yeah.
A guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse,
of course,
was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump...
86 means to terminate. It always has. Well, here's the interesting question. Do people that are in gangs use the term 86 to refer to killing people? Yes. Okay. All right. So then there you go.
Anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was called.
And that's also a really good point. If anybody would know what this means, it would be the FBI director.
Calling for the dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life.
Personally, I think it's a stretch. I don't. I think that people like this do these little things and they do them under a degree of plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't really mean that. It's just that every single time that there's a misunderstanding, it just happens to be on one direction. Yeah, what are the odds? Come on, get the fuck out of here. It's so dishonest and it's so disrespectful to the intelligence of everybody else that's watching that that he thinks you're so stupid, or the person doing it thinks that you're so stupid to believe such an obvious form of gaslighting.
When we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences. This is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern-day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country. These are people who hate democracy and hate the American people because they cannot stand that the people overwhelmingly chose to elect Donald Trump and send him back to the White House.
Go ahead.
So they are seeking other means to get their way and to try to remove him from that position.
Right. Okay. So let's go ahead and ask the question, is there documented evidence that using the term 86, that gangs or criminals have used the term 86 to refer to killing a person? Pretty simple question, right? Because that's really what matters. Tame 86 is widely recognized crowdsourced platform. 86 is to get rid of, originally for killing someone, law enforcement and gang slogans, historical and media contexts. In an organized crime narrative, particularly those in the mafia, is occasionally referenced as a euphemism for eliminating someone, but those references are often fictional or speculative. Okay, so there we go. The 80 miles out, 6 feet under. All right, so there we go. There it is. And so Gretchen Whitmer did it too? Well, I don't know about her. I have no idea. Speculative, literally. Read it. There's no definitive documented evidence in authoritative sources confirming that gangs or criminals have used 86 to refer to killing a person. While anecdotal claims on X and popular culture suggest a connection, these lack substantiation and are contradicted by any reliable sources, IG 187. Okay, so in that case, what other reason would someone have to call for another person to be 86th? Workplace, it could also be outside hospitality, excluding someone from a group, reasons, getting rid of them, reasons as well, key points, nonviolent intent. In nearly all documented cases, 86 refers to removal, exclusion, or dismissal without physical harm. The term's versatility allows it to apply to various scenarios. Tone and context matter. The reason for calling to someone to be 86 depends on the speaker's intent and the situation. It could be practical, maintaining order in a bar, personal, ending a relationship, or figurative, injuring a person. No evidence of violence. As noted in previous response, there is no credible evidence linking 86 to killing or violence in gang-related context. So it's vague. Yes, let me go back. I'll read the first sentence. The term 86, commonly used to get rid of, eliminating someone, often in non-violent context. So it's up in the air. Here's the thing. I don't like this, but this is what lefties do. Saying the 86 just means to get rid of, but it does not imply violence at all, in my opinion. In my opinion, take the L. It's too vague. No, you're right. It's too vague. But in my opinion, I think that's what he meant. I do. I think that's exactly what he meant. And I think that we need to take at least some degree of accountability for people that use these vague statements constantly in order to advocate for things that they actually believe. This is also in the context of a person referring to the president. And how could somebody get rid of the president? How could you get rid of the president other than killing him? This has also been used in Urban Dictionary as well. This has been used in popular culture also. So, yes, of course, in some cases it's about killing. In some cases it's not. And 100% that's what he meant. Yeah, impeach. Getting impeached doesn't mean that you get removed from office. Trump got impeached twice. You didn't get removed from office. That's not the same thing. To be fair, even in a gang, he obviously fucking means it. Yeah. In U.S. common culture, we've always thought of 86 this way. Yeah, you'd think that he was calling for to be publicly executed. Don't you think he has the means to do this without a tweet? Probably not. No. I mean, like, from everything that I've heard, like, actually getting to the president's pretty hard to do. That's why it was so surprising. But, like, that's just from podcasts and people talking about it. And especially with someone with influence. I use 86 real life in the military at 1,000% means to terminate. Yeah, I mean, lost his security clearance. 8 feet out, 6 feet under. Urban Dictionary is a good enough source. The AI tells you no evidence has been found, and you're saying it's a lie? Well, no. And so what this is saying, this is what it's saying, is that it is not conclusive, and there is context required. That's what they're saying. Because there is documented evidence of it being used in a way that is nonviolent, and there is documented evidence of it being used in a way that is violent. That's it. And so that's the difference. It's literally a mob term, right? Exactly. And so I think the context is what matters. In my opinion, I think he meant it that way. I do.
How serious is the administration taking this? And what are the next steps going to be?
Mm-hmm.
We're taking this very seriously. As you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security and
Agreed, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. I agree with you. And I think that's why it needs to be investigated. I don't think that you should treat this guy like he's immediately guilty, but this absolutely deserves an investigation, and it seems like it's happening. Of course he did. He's a former FBI director, not a random internet troll. Yeah, in law enforcement, it 100% means to kill. Comey hates Trump, so he has motive. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't even... It's crazy how some people, like... And this is the problem with dishonesty with people like this. Exactly, his government? Yeah.
Specifically, Sean Curran, the current Secret Service director, a man who has been willing to lay down his life as the lead of President Trump's Secret Service detail for years now.
Yes.
He takes this seriously and is leading the investigation into this threat. There has to be accountability for this. There was a Rutgers study.
Well, this is a good start, right? Because there's a lot of people that have been posting this kind of stuff all the time on the internet. They've been posting this constantly on the internet, like killing Donald Trump or killing somebody else. This stuff needs to be held, like people need to be held accountable for this stuff. And I think some people need to go to jail for it. I do. Insanely, it's way too much. Why would he delete the post? Well, everybody knows why.
That just came out a little over a month ago, Jesse, that asked respondents their view on these calls to assassinate President Trump. And over 55% of respondents felt that murdering President Trump would be, quote unquote, somewhat justified. This is the effect of people like James Comey doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This study.
They've been absolutely dialing up the rhetoric for this constantly. Like, if you actually, like, I don't see how any rational, reasonable person can look at the last 10 years and see that the amount of rhetoric that has been dialed up and the amount of advocacy for violence has increased by several magnitudes. There's no legal proceeding or point of contention. It's literally just lamentation and pleading to the public to do something to get rid of an elected president. Yeah, obviously.
He also pointed out that there is a quote-unquote assassination culture that is starting to take over the views of what they call the extreme left.
Well, the reason why, by the way, you have this assassination culture is because you fucking retards can't do your job and arrest these people that are on social media promoting it. It's so easy. Literally hire me. I'll do it for free. I could solve this entire fucking problem in 6 months. You just pull up people's logs, figure out who they are, go to their house, arrest them, or question them, scare the shit out of them, and then put them in jail. That's it. You could do 50 of these a day, and you'd be done. Do you really think there's that many people doing this? No. It's probably a few thousand people. You'd be finished with this in a few months. That's the problem. Too far? Not far enough. Not far enough. The amount of people that are advocating for violence on social media, this is not freedom of speech. It's never been freedom of speech. It's not what freedom of speech is supposed to be. And I don't think that people can defend it as if it is freedom of speech. These are blatant calls to violence. They should be called out for what they are, and the people doing them should be held accountable. Everything you do can be used against you. Keep that in mind. Of course. When do I call for violence for people? Never. The only time I think it's okay to be violent to people is in a self-defense situation.
We, the American people, cannot take this lightly. Whatever your politics, we cannot allow people to get by without being held accountable for this kind of public call to assassinate the President of the United States.
It's intentionally ambiguous. Isn't it kind of contradictory to what you're saying about Hassan? No, not necessarily, because supporting a terrorist organization is much different than like actively making a call to violence. I do think this is a big difference. Now, both of them are bad, but one of them is over the line and the other one generally isn't.
Do you believe that Comey is goading you guys to come after him because he wants to be a political martyr? He wants to be set up so he can say, oh, look, we were right. Donald Trump is a dictator. Yeah. They're coming after me.
Republicans are the new snowflakes. You can say whatever you want to say and use whatever vocabulary you want to use. But at the end of the day, I support and I am completely in advocacy of weaponizing the government to put these people in jail and to inflict the maximum amount of damage to them as possible. So whatever word you're using is not important to me. It's really the action and the intent behind it. I think this is a massive corrosive problem in culture and society. I think it's degraded discourse to a degree where you can't even have normal conversations with people anymore. It's allowed people that should be in mental institutions to, in fact, be in positions of power. And it's caused such a massive breakdown of the culture and of conversations that it needs to be put to a stop. And I'm not advocating for any new addition of laws. All I'm advocating for is very simply the application of the current laws. But how do you judge intent? By looking at supporting evidence, listening to what people are saying, and seeing what somebody is and making a better judgment, obviously. What do you mean? How do you figure it out? By investigating it, obviously, right? Yes. And of course. You discover the intent by reading the words. Yes, and so these people can't be real? Well, here's the reason why they're defending it. The reason why they're defending it is because they like doing it. It's that simple. They like the form of terrorism this effectively creates. They think that they can weaponize it in their favor. And so they defend it because they view it as convenient for them. That's the reason. It's that simple.
They're arresting me. They're interrogating me. I was just using my free speech.
I think if somebody wants to be a martyr, I think you should make them earn it. That's what I think. You want to be a martyr? Go ahead.
Whatever his intent, I will tell you that there is a guy in Georgia who is issuing threats on my life about a month ago, and he's in jail today.
Got him.
He has been indicted with a crime, as he should have been, and he is in jail as we speak. So whatever James Comey intent, he and people like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic. The rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats against the President of the United States, essentially issuing a call to assassinate him, must be held accountable under the law.
The soy right for you? Again, I understand that, like, a lot of and this is the problem with, like, a lot of this, like, leftist rhetoric, is that it's all based on, like, these childish, like, insults and stuff like this. I don't think most people give a shit about that. You can call it whatever you want. It's still going to happen. Yeah, call it whatever you want to call it. You're still going to jail if you do it. Right, both sides do it. Yeah, they're mentally 11. Exactly. Both sides are the same. Yeah, I think so. But, like, in general, I think there's one more part about this. And apparently they are actually, this guy is being held accountable for this. And why can't this stream? Yeah. In all fairness, it goes both ways. So of course it does. Of course. If this happened to Biden or the Democrats, they'd be using the full extent of the law to prosecute. I mean, I would hope so, right? I would say that anybody who's advocating for, any sort of violence on an elected official should be immediately prosecuted. Immediately, there is no place in a civil society for a person that does this. And I would even go as far to say anybody who's advocating for violence on a group of people based off of an ideology and ethnicity, like anybody advocating for violence in general for anything other than self-defense.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person
then do it.
With the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be.
See, this is the energy that you need to deal with people like this. Immediate, direct, like aggressive, and definitive. This is how you deal with people like this. Who decides what qualifies for violence, though? The court decides that, obviously. When he goes to court and they decide whether he was doing this or not. Who do you think? Yeah, it's spelled out.
I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
Do you believe Comey should be...
If they do this to him, my respect for them will go up massively. I will be so happy if they do this. So there's a good chance former FBI Director James Comey will be escorted by Secret Service DC for their assassination investigation over Comey's 8647 post. Get used to it. Yeah, Cash Patel's on it. Yeah, and again, I don't think that they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to deliver on this. I think they're going to pussy out just like they pussied out with the Epstein files and they pussied out with a number of other things. I'm not expecting a really big, exciting thing to happen. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm really not. But, that's the right always pussies out. Yeah, and the thing is that eventually it won't happen. Will this happen? It triggers mass leftist violence? So who cares? Just bring in the National Guard and arrest them. It's not a big deal. What's the problem? Like, oh, wow, there's a lot of violence. Okay, well, then just get the police and put them in jail. What? It's not complicated. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand this. It's such an easy way to deal with this. Like, I just apply the rules, and that's all you need to do. Just like the Tesla rioters? Yes, exactly. And let's see here. Pussies, meaning suppressed by the left and deep state? Yeah, Comey will just plead that it was a message of impeachment, and that'll be the end of it. Probably not. I think that they could probably pull some of his other call logs and other private conversations he's had. And if he's had private conversations discussing him being, an advocate or talking about, like, being happy about assassinating Trump, and they find that, and I think that there's a good chance that could happen, then he's cooked. Yep, they're going to get a warrant. Yeah, that's it.